Okay, the topic I'm going to cover today is the guns. I want to really concentrate more on the safety aspect of it. In other words, just because you have weapons on the set doesn't mean that everybody is aware that there's weapons on the set, or live weapons, even though they may be toys. Like for instance, this one here, it's pretty obvious. To most, it's pretty obvious. But still, it can still shoot out projectiles. It's still operational, I should say. And those are things you need to watch out for and have some kind of rules and regulations for when you're doing projects, doing movies or whatnot, and you're using either objects like this in its full, set, or if you modify them or whatever. You should be really careful on how you handle them, how you let others handle them. You should have procedures in place, some kind of a contingency plan if things happens. What if the cops show up? Have some kind of a game plan. I mean, of course, if someone saw this, it's pretty obvious that it's a toy, but it still has the shape of a weapon. But my point is, just try to be, careful about that kind of thing, because, people take it for granted. I mean, these things are designed like the real thing, pretty much. Operational parts. But that's just the thing. It's like for instance, if it doesn't have any batteries in it, but I'm sure I could. As you can tell, I don't really play with this thing at all. But yeah, so it does have something in it. It looks like it can be fired. But what needs to happen is there needs to be a gun wrangler or somebody, a safety person that looks at these kind of things. And when you're on the set or they're being stored, it should have tags on them, safety tags. Just like in a real industrial world, because you do have to protect people when you're using these things. So they should be checked as far as their status, and some kind of a safety tag put on them. Maybe they're never stored with the rounds in there. That's what this is what goes in there. It loads here, shoots out. But so anyway, it should be checked, tagged, stored away. In short, there could be more to it than that, but I just use that as an example because once again, people are familiar with that particular unit, familiar with the game it goes with. And even though these darts are pretty, they're soft. It's like a foam material here, which doesn't really matter. It's like a foam. Doesn't really matter as far as this thing can shoot at a pretty good rate, and it has like a little bit of a harder plastic tip. So you can tell the tip's a little heavier than the rest of it, so to give it some kind of direction as it's flowing. What we have here, let me make a comparison. Here's the darts that are shot by some of these weapons. Here's another one, pistol version. So what happens is you load it up front, and sure enough, it has a level of, as you can see. But just that alone makes this thing somewhat, dangerous, because it can release a projectile. So it should have some kind of way that you can modify it before it goes to the set, if it's supposed to be modified. Because what we would do with items like this is to, since there's hundreds or maybe thousands of these out there in this form, what we'll do is go and take it and break it down into the form that we need. Maybe use parts of it, use the handle and put our own top piece, whatever, whatever doesn't take too much time. But we would take this particular design and redesign it, reconfigure it with other parts from other items if needed to some degree, and make our own unique design. So that's usually how we do it. But the important thing here is to make sure you disable it, before it goes into the hands of others, or if it's not disabled, you need to have, once again, safety tags or some way of knowing that this thing can still potentially hurt someone. Either put an eye out, or someone could swallow one of those darts, because you saw how fast that one took off. But and the other thing is, when you're using props and different toys, you need to make sure that they're obviously noticeable. I mean, we know that these are fake. We can tell that from a distance just by looking at them. But something like this is fake. Well, how about this one? This one's fake, this one's real. And I know I can tell because you get the weight here. I can see that I just know it's real. I purchased it. But sometimes at a distance, people don't know. They see this, they think, wow, what are those guys up to? and you're making a movie or whatever, you should have things clearly marked, a person in control of all of that, and once again procedures and so on in place that would make sure that everything goes as smooth as you'd like. So yeah, this one's a fake one. This one's not. You can tell by the sound there and so on. So the thing is, some of these items look very real, like this one for instance. It looks real, and what we'll do before we use it is, before we take it on the set, is obviously paint that other end right there. You know, 'cause right now it's obviously fake, and it can be dangerous as well. It shoots the BBs here, which can put an eye out, or it could break something, shatter someone's glasses. Who knows? But these operate just like the real thing. You can do stuff with them. So they make really good props and things for the type of movies that we make. And so there's that one. And this one is would be considered one of the most safer, items, if not the safest. But this one's a water gun. It's designed to shoot water, but even that can still be a problem, because that water could have, maybe there's detergent still left in there from when you last cleaned it. Who knows? And it irritates the eyes of the person that it shoots if it gets in someone's eyes. So you still have to watch out for that too, even though anything that shoots a projectile of whatever kind, whether it's water, whether it's one of these items, and obviously whether it's real bullets, you just have to be really careful on your set. Otherwise you could have problems. You could have problems that you never anticipated. But my thing is, one bigger issue is, I never could understand why somebody would want to have live guns on the set. Why would you have live guns on the set? I don't get that. I've heard of it happening over the years, and unfortunately a few people have lost their lives over the years, and it's pretty unfortunate. But once again, why do you want live guns on the set, and how do they get there, and how do they accidentally shoot people? All those questions are to be answered, and then once it happens, it seems like once it happens, it becomes a big, what if, big conspiracy thing, what really happened type of thing. And it seems like we never really get to the bottom of it. That's a scary thing. Maybe there's a final verdict given out to the public, but in general, it seems like we never really find out what actually happened. But getting back to the actual technicalities of making movies like that, where you have gunplay, you have guns going off, you can always do that in post-production. It's not that hard. It is tedious, sure. You have to go through frame. I thought I had an example here. But you have to go through, like say if these are frames of film, frame, 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 frame. Because what happens is you have to go 24 or 30 frames per second, depending on what rate you shot your project and your editing. So if you have a gun blast going off, they happen so fast, it would have to be, 1 or 2 frames, and then a pause or whatever, and another 2 frames, and you may synchronize it. But the results can be pretty good. We've done a lot of projects that use gunplay, and never once have I even considered live guns on the set. Because if you use live guns, you have the issue of safety. You have the issue of just someone losing their life by safety or getting hurt badly. It's not just safety alone. There's a lot of aspects that go along with it. Permits, the legalities of it. If the cops happen to show up, or if something came up where you had to show all your paperwork for having live guns on the set, and that could be an issue, I'm sure. Live guns or any kind of live ammunition of any kind. So you have to be really careful. And I tend to make movies where you do fix it in post. And here's a couple of clips right here. I mean, this was done where every single gun burst had to be edited individually. And once again, sure, it was tedious, but we got it done. And the important thing when doing gun bursts and different things, explosions and whatnot, I mean, there's a lot of B-roll footage out there too. There's a lot of effects footage, I should say. There's a lot of it out there, and if you edit right, it'll look good. And one thing about that effects footage is the fact that it is someone else's footage, and you can buy it, sure. You buy the license to use it, but it won't be original unless you tweak it somehow, or just use one part of it, or whatever. But you can also go into different programs and create your own. Literally paint on screen. Just draw it as you need, and you'll become good at it. But the thing is to look at real bursts and look at those, because a lot of times gun bursts look just like some kind of a stream of dirt coming. Hollywood puts that little flash on there where everything is like, you know, pa 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 pa, and that's Hollywood right there. Which I agree, it looks good, but in reality, a lot of times, you know, unless there's tracer rounds in there, and every now and then you'll get a flash if you're photographing something, depending on the frame rate of the camera and the gun itself, a lot of different other factors. Well, sometimes you'll capture one burst, but not constant, like you see in Hollywood, or in the movies. But you can paint those on there. You can study some and see how they look, or even study movies themselves. See how they look, see how they come off, and see if you like that look. And then you can go in there and kind of emulate that, draw your own, kind of get an idea of what they're doing. You know, don't copy them 100%, but just kind of get an idea. So drawing your own and playing it back, see how it looks. You know, come back to a few hours later after it's set. You have a chance to do other stuff. You come back, you look at it again. Does it still look good? Does it look real? Do I keep it? Do I not? So these are a lot of decisions you can make. But overall, one of the best ways I feel to be safe on the set is to not have any dangerous weapons on there in the first place. I mean, if you have something on there, on the set, some dangerous weapon, that brings you that much closer to chaos. You're 1 degree closer to chaos, I should say, or 1 degree closer to mayhem. Something happening, because if the item is not on the set in the first place, it can't go off because it's not there. But yeah, it really takes a whole lot of, I think, strong thinking as far as doing that kind of thing, as far as having guns and pyrotechnics and any type of hazmat, anything on your set that's going to cause a safety issue. You need to be really much, as a producer, you need to be really on top of that and make sure all those things are taken care of. So that's everything we're going to cover in this particular episode, and I'll be back soon.